Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is your Ukrainian guide Olena, and in this video let's celebrate the Ukrainian American heritage.
Shchedryk, Shchedryk, Shchedrywочка.
The song Shchedryk, that is well known all over the world as Carol of the Bells. Today children from Ukraine performed this song in New York in the Carnegie Hall. This was a very symbolical event because Carnegie Hall, New York is the place where Ukrainians performed Shchedryk for the first time 100 years ago, a century ago, and introduced this music to the world, to American audience, and this song became loved and well known all over the world. Later, in 30s, Peter Vilhovsky, which is American with Ukrainian roots, he wrote the English text for this song, and this is how it became Carol of the Bells. 100 years ago, Ukrainians performed in New York, in America. It was a diplomatical Ukrainian mission from the independent and very new Ukrainian state, to introduce Ukrainian culture to the world and to prove that Ukraine deserves to be an independent state. This was 100 years ago when Ukraine was fighting for its independence, and guess who was trying to take it away? These were Russians. That was 100 years ago. Later, Ukrainians survived the genocide, Holodomor, when millions of Ukrainians were killed by starvation. Later, there was the Second World War, and of course, there was also 70 years of being a part of the empire of evil, the Soviet Union. Today, Ukraine, again, surprisingly has to prove to the world that it deserves to be an independent state, that it has its own culture, own language, own heritage, and that it needs, again, to fight for its independence against the country who wants to become the new empire of evil, new evil empire that wants to recreate the evil empire, and this country is a terrorist state of Russia.
Як не гроші, то полова, в тебе жінка чорноброва.
Children who performed in New York, they had their rehearsals in Kiev in the basements without lights because they were hiding in the basements in the bomb shelters from the Russian missiles, and they had no lights because Russia keeps bombing Ukrainian territory, trying to put my country into darkness and trying to kill as much as possible of Ukrainian people. After performing in New York on one of the best and the greatest stages of the world, these Ukrainian kids will have to come back to Ukraine, will come back to the place where their lives are threatened and where they face the terrorist every day and every minute.
Стало собі щебетати, господаря викликати.
But now let's come back to the song Shchedryk, the song about a new life, about spring, about Christmas, about something good and kind. The melody itself, it's pretty old, maybe it's even 1,000 years old, or maybe even older, nobody knows. But it was Ukrainian composer Mykola Leontovich who found this melody and, put it into the books, made instrumental version of this, and the Ukrainian choir started to sing this song first in Ukraine, then they had a big tour in Europe, in many countries, and then they had it in the Northern America and even in the Southern American. The Ukrainian song Shchedryk. What happened to performance 100 years ago? They came back to Ukraine. Mykola Leontovich, the author of this music, he was killed by a Russian KGB agent. He was killed like many other Ukrainian artists, composers, writers, poets. Russia killed and repressed and imprisoned and sent to the Far East, to concentration camps, many, many great and talented people of Ukrainian nation. If Russia wins this time, guess what is going to happen with all these Ukrainian children who performed today in Carnegie Hall in New York? What is going to happen with other prominent Ukrainian talented people that fight for the independence of their country today? If we do support freedom, if we do stand for light against darkness, We have to stand with Ukraine. We have to stop the genocide. We have to stop Russia. We have to stop this unfair and ugly full-scale Russian aggression against Ukraine. Stop Russia, stop genocide.
Щедрик, щедрик, щедрівочка, прилетіла ластівочка.